A true story from 1964, Camp Avenue School, Merrick, Long Island, as told by Ricky Gilley. Let me tell you the story of the single greatest, most backfiring good deed in fourth grade history. The name of this tale is I Had the Balls. It was 1964 at Camp Avenue School, a perfect spring afternoon, sun shining, grass smelling like pure freedom. We were out on the field playing baseball during recess when, crack! My hit sailed clean over the fence into somebody's backyard. That fence was no joke. For a young 10-year-old like me, it felt like Mount Everest, a tall cyclone fence probably 6 feet high, with those sharp barbs curling at the very top where the wire ended. But it was my ball, darn it. I wasn't about to let it disappear forever. So up I went. Sneakers slipping on the chain link, fingers grabbing for dear life, heart hammering like a drum solo. I dropped down into the yard like a tiny, clumsy commando. I dusted myself off and spotted my baseball sitting right near the open garage door. And that's when I saw it. There, just inside the garage entrance, sat the most enormous, ridiculously huge bag of balls I have ever seen in my life. This thing was gigantic. About 3 feet high and as wide as a hula hoop. It was made of some super tough, thick white material, the kind they use for trampolines. Heavy-duty, canvas-like, built like it could survive a nuclear war. And inside, a treasure trove that must have been collected over 40-something years of neighborhood ball snatching. Pink handballs, tether balls with ropes still dangling, basketballs, tennis balls, volleyballs, red rubber balls, soccer balls, softballs, hardballs, golf balls, kickballs, footballs. If it was round and could bounce, roll, or get kicked, it was crammed in that bag. Honestly, there must have been 70 or 80 balls in there. It looked like the lost and found of every playground in Merrick since the Calvin Coolidge administration. My 10-year-old brain lit up with pure, shining heroism. Hey, these balls belong to the school, I thought. That neighbor's been hoarding them for years. I'm going to return them all. I'll be the hero of Camp Avenue. Kids will cheer my name. They'll write songs about me. Maybe they'll even name a wing of the school after me. The Ricky Gilley Ball Return Memorial. So I started throwing them back over the fence one by one. Heave, and over it went. Each ball sailed beautifully back into the playground like a gift from the gods. And then, the swarm. Kids came running from every corner of the field like it was the gold rush. 50, 60, 70 excited fourth graders in full greedy chaos mode. They didn't just pick them up. They attacked. Pockets stuffed until they looked like chipmunks with mumps, shorts bulging like they were smuggling basketballs, shirts yanked out and turned into giant ball hammocks. One kid had 3 basketballs wedged under his arms and was still trying to grab a tetherball with his teeth. Another waddled away looking 9 months pregnant with softballs. It was a wild, hilarious scene. Pure pandemonium. And there I was, up on that fence, still tossing balls like a proud papa yelling, "They're ours! Take 'em back!" I had no idea they were all collecting them for themselves. Recess ended. We marched back inside like little angels. 5 minutes later, the PA system crackled to life like the voice of God after 3 espressos. "Your attention, please. Your attention, please. Will Ricky Gilley report to the main office immediately? And anyone who has any of the balls that were thrown over the fence at recess must also report to the main office immediately." Mrs. Clark's voice could freeze lava. The classroom went graveyard silent. Every head turned toward me in slow motion. I swear I heard the Jaws theme playing in the background. My stomach dropped straight to my sneakers. I walked the Green Mile down to the office and saw a scene I will never forget. About 50 kids were lined up from the front of the main office all the way down the hallway, hands and arms full of every variety of ball imaginable. Mr. Freed, the most feared teacher in the whole school, stood there arms crossed, shaking his head at me in pure disbelief. Oh boy, I was dead meat. I was extra dead. I was so dead they'd need an Ouija board to talk to me. Washed up, humiliated, scared out of my mind. Mrs. Clark called me into her office, which smelled like old wood, chalk dust, and impending doom. She was a large, stocky woman who looked like she could bench press a Buick. Her eyebrows were permanently set to disappointed thunderstorm. She pointed one thick finger at the collected balls on the floor. With narrowed eyes and eyebrows drawn together, she demanded, "Where did you get these balls?" I told her the whole story. The fence, the gigantic white bag, my heroic plan to return the school's stolen property after 40 years of thievery. I even threw in a dramatic flourish. "They belong to the children, Mrs. Clark." She stared at me until I could hear my own pulse. Then, very calmly, "You were trespassing on private property, young man." "But Mrs. Clark, those balls belong to the school. These people have been stealing our balls for years and years." She just stared, eyes squinting harder. "I'm calling your mother. You are going to have to return every single ball to those people, and you will apologize to them for trespassing on their property." I tried to protest, but Mrs. Clark. Not another word. Later that day, my parents brought me over to the very old man's house. He had such bad hearing impairment, I don't think he could even hear me shouting, "I'm so sorry, mister. I thought they belonged to the school." He just smiled, nodded, and said with a little giggle, "They do, ha ha ha." Then he patted that giant white bag, which had somehow made its way back to his porch, gave me a little wink, kept every last ball, and sent me on my way. I stood there blinking while my parents tried not to laugh. The balls stayed with the old guy. The school never got them back, but at least I was off the hook. What a day. But my friends, they have never, ever let me forget this true story. To this day, at every reunion, somebody yells across the room, "Hey, Ricky, still got any balls you want to throw over a fence?" And I just grin and say the only thing a legend can say. "Yeah, I had the balls.